like a pro.
Capita.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to Brandy Beauty TV. Today, guys, we're going to be changing my client Garion's hair color to something a little bit more vibrant and a little bit more rich and also redder in color. We are still going to keep these golden tones that you see, but Garion decided that she wanted to be a little bit more of a red brown in the base instead of her natural color, well, the brown that it previously was. So we are going to shift that a little bit using Matrix. Now, being that this video is a little bit on the older side, the original formula did get a little lost in the sauce. However, I'm going to try to remember as best as I can. And for the base color, don't quite remember what we used, but I definitely know it was very rich and very vibrant in color. I want to say I probably even mixed a few things, so we won't say officially what I used, but just know that left side has already been done, and I'm going to go in and apply it just to her full canvas because the roots need to be retouched, and that needs to process as long as it possibly can. And then we'll go in for the ends and we'll just drag that color all the way through. So while I'm retouching Garion's hair, I wanted to use this video to discuss just a few things that I think every client should know before booking a hair appointment with a hairstylist, and to offer a few different perspectives going forward. Being in the industry as long as I have thus far, I can honestly say a lot has changed and is continuing to change. And change is not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just something that is. There can be things that change negatively, but I think in the hair industry, and as in all industries, there's this pendulum that sways, and we're just trying to figure out where is the common ground. So just stick with me, and hopefully by the end of the video I can tie my thoughts all in together. So I was listening to this Instagram user by the name of Jay Tibbetts, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's what his name is. At any rate, he's not specialized, but majored in, I believe, fashion journalism when in college. And his take on defining what quality is just made so much sense to me. And it was a question that was plaguing me throughout my career. And because I've always grappled with the question, and the question that's haunted me: what is quality? How do you define quality? How do you express that to people? And the honest truth is that you really can't. It's one of those things where it's kind of like real recognize real. Like whatever resonates with you just resonates with you. I can't tell you what quality is, because quality is more aligned with morality versus luxury. And honestly, luxury is a scam in a sense, because you can't really truly define luxury either. You can't put a price on it. You can't quantify it. It just makes sense to you, or it does not make sense to you. And again, that goes back to morality. So when it comes down to choosing a hairstylist or any service provider, I believe the first person you should interview is yourself before interviewing a hairstylist, because you have to be very clear as to what your expectations are, what it is that you want, and things that you're not willing to compromise on, and things that you're okay with compromising on. And I think that's the whole baseline, and that's the whole argument when it comes down to quality. No one can define what quality is for anybody. Only you can do that. You can't even go so far as to saying what luxury is, at least for someone else. You can only define that for yourself. And hopefully your tribe will find you. You'll find like-minded individuals who maybe will see things through that same perspective that you do. However, in terms of defining what quality is and how to find a quality hairstylist, you have to decide what that means. So for some, that may mean they answer the phone all the time. When I pick up, they always have appointments available. Even if I have to pay a squeeze-in fee, I can always get an appointment. For some, that's quality. For others, that may not care anything about that. I've had some clients who have told me that they have watched my YouTube or Instagram, whatever social media pages that they have decided to watch me on or found me on. I've had people tell me that they've watched me for 2 years, a year and a half, before they even decided to schedule an appointment. And I'm like, okay, why? Why would you do that? And their answer is because I just couldn't, it just didn't seem like you were real. And I'm like, I'm real as can be, last time I checked. But to some, that's a real thing. They're like, wow, does somebody like that really exist? And I don't know what that is to them, but I kind of understand what they're getting at. And I feel like the baseline is care. And if the thing that they are searching for is care, then that resonates with me as well, because I'm always shocked when I go to businesses that actually care about their guests and actually go the extra mile to deliver a great experience and excellence to the best of their ability, and also being accountable and making things right when they go wrong, because we're human still and things do go wrong sometimes, and being committed to just a standard of excellence no matter what's going on. So when it comes down to choosing your hairstylist, and again, any other service provider, the first person to interview is not the stylist, it's yourself. And so those little intangibles, like people screaming at you and their booking policies with the all caps and the exclamation points, and not even the regular exclamation points, it'd be the red ones and the emojis. They go find those and like stick them in there. And I'm like, whoa, like, why are you screaming at me? Like, you haven't even met me yet, So for me, I wouldn't schedule an appointment with somebody who's speaking to me like that, like in text form. Like, I can only imagine the attitude you'll have with me in person if you can't even just type a sentence with traditional punctuation and what is it called? Not punctuation, but whether you are putting things on caps or taking it off of caps. Like, I'm not, that just, don't even get me started on that. But yeah, for me, that's a no-go. But for some, they'll breeze right past that and they won't even care. They'll just continue to go ahead and book the appointment. And they can do that because it's their money. And if that's how they define quality, or if quality is not even something to be negotiated and they just want the service and they just want what they want, then hey, come hell or high water, they don't care how they get it. They don't care how it's packaged. They just want what they want, and that's it. For some, it's the what that drives them. For some, it's more of the how it's delivered, how it's presented, the care, the attitude, all those things. So I thought that was very interesting, and you guys should go check Jay out. He has very, very interesting takes on things that you typically maybe think about a little bit here and there, but at any rate, the way that he elaborates on these topics is truly fascinating. And I was so happy to run into him when it came down to this quality versus luxury segment, because in the grand scheme of things, and the bottom line is that it really is a scam. Quality doesn't have anything to do with luxury. It has everything to do with the individual and your individual morality. Okay guys, so now I am just cleaning up Garion's cut a little bit because it has grown out quite a bit since the last color session. So she is due for a trim, but even if she wasn't necessarily due for a trim, I would still go in and dust and clean up just a little bit. Simply because after coloring or doing a color service in any capacity, there are microscopic little imperfections that you can see after the color is done. And typically this comes alive more so when you go lighter. So you just want to make sure that it's seamless, because if you don't have a nice cut, then you won't have a nice style. And if you don't have a nice style, then the color just looks very unorganized and unintentional. And you want to make sure that you have a nice blend and that everything marries well together. So cut and color go together. To me, they are not mutually exclusive. To me, they must coexist in the same space all the time. There's just no way around it. You want your hair to look good. So anytime you get your hair colored, if your stylist doesn't tell you that, always schedule a trim with it or a cut of some sort. I promise you it will make you fall in love with your color 10,000 times more than if you didn't. Okay, the other topic I want to discuss is social media and how it has affected this industry and the relationships between clients, customers, and service providers, the people behind the chair. And I think this can be broken up into maybe 2 to 3 talking points. 1 being accessibility, 2 being relationships, or loyalty rather. And if I think of the third one, then we'll discuss it. But for sure, I definitely want to highlight the accessibility and loyalty. I think social media has done a wonderful job. It's a wonderful tool in giving people a pool of people to be able to select from. Once upon a time, people didn't have that luxury. You pretty much stayed within maybe 25 miles of, where your home was to go and find the things that you needed. And it was pretty much word of mouth and referrals. I mean, that's who pretty much got the lion's share of the clients. It was based off of who was actually good, and that was it. But nowadays, you don't have to have those credentials anymore. As long as your social media page looks aesthetically pleasing and it looks like you have a nice suite or salon and you have nice lighting and maybe serve some coffee or have some snacks, then people will come. And if you have a few pictures of some socialites, some recognizable people on there, then you got some clients that's willing to book. So I don't know how much of social media has influenced, I should say honesty and transparency, because you can pretty much curate whatever it is that you want to these days. And that has affected people's ability to effectively judge what they are choosing. And if you don't have a lick of discernment in any capacity, this could be extremely frustrating and daunting for anybody, because on social media, everybody kind of looks the same in some shape or form. You really can't tell who's to be trusted and who can't. So I feel like the accessibility piece is good from the fact that you can choose, but is being able to choose from too much a good thing? Can't really say. And it invites people to be able to chair hop as well, which is something that I strongly advise against not to do, because chair hopping is like the equivalent to getting married today, divorced tomorrow, married today, divorced tomorrow. Like, your hair can never really effectively get on a regimen if you're always switching hairstylists, but that's another topic. Next, I wanted to which brings me to my next point, which is loyalty. How can you build effective relationships if you don't have the loyalty of the stylist and the client? If the stylist isn't committed to providing good service because, one, they feel like you're replaceable as a client, And then two, as a client, you also feel like this stylist is replaceable as well, because I got 6 other people who I follow who can probably do this same service. Even if I have to travel a little bit further, I'll go to somebody else. These are things that once upon a time you didn't necessarily have to ask for. Once you find a stylist once upon a time, you kind of locked in with them. You know, it was easy to develop 10, 15 year, 25 year relationships with people once upon a time. Nowadays it's not like that anymore. You could be doing someone's hair today and not see them ever again, you know, like easily. And it could be because you've done something or done nothing. It's just that they have so many options. So how do we invite that decorum? How do we invite that back into this space? How do we use social media to help people and invite a space of transparency in this industry? It's something to definitely think about. I don't quite have the answer just yet, just because we don't quite know where social media is going. But I will say this. I think people are getting more hip to authenticity, and some people are definitely waking up and not letting themselves be influenced by what appears to be real or authentic or worth trying anymore. People are, because there are so many scams living out there, people are getting a little bit more choosy and decisive about where they're deciding to spend their money and their time. So I think it'll all come together at some point. This is a space in time where we'll have to grow through it and learn how to navigate it, just because things move so fast and there's so many things being thrown at us nowadays as stylists and as clients too. You know, it's just so much information, and that definitely has affected the industry. But it is my hope that it has a more lasting positive impact than it does negative. Well, that wraps up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you guys. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. If you enjoy this type of content, there's more to come per usual. And I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed doing this hair transformation. It was a whole lot of fun. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in my next video.